Chapter 53. Yuan Ying Puppet. Let's escape the fire first, one step at a time. After Kang Chan sealed the cave entrance, he did to the side and started to cultivate. He wanted to hurry up his cultivation in this period of time. When the time came, he would also have the ability to fight with Lin Beishan. Wang Tixiong saw the situation, is not to say more, also in a side to sit down, his heart contemplation. Later if you go out, must let Kang Chan leave, even if spelled this old life, is also do not hesitate. Xiaojin stayed at one side, scratching his ears and looking very anxious. Not long after Kang Chan sealed the stone cave, the fire in the sky also burned through the place where the stone cave was located. Suddenly 5 rays of light shot up into the sky, forming a huge curtain of light that enveloped the stone cave, making it impossible for the fire to invade. This strange sight was not noticed by outsiders, as the fires were in the sky, obscuring the 5 rays of light. In the stone cave, Kang Chan and Wang Tixiong were even more unable to discover this strange event. But there was one person who discovered it in the first place, and he was Emperor Dan. There is actually a formation. This is the 5 elements Misty Trail formation. What a powerful formation, even concealed from the old man. Really the sky has no limit. Kang Chan was in the middle of repairing the road, but the Dan Emperor's excited laughter came from his mind, and he was instantly awakened. What's wrong with you, old man? Kang Chan was filled with doubt. Kid, the old man found out that a very powerful formation was actually arranged in this stone cave. You quickly follow the old man to solve the formation. There might be a ray of hope, Emperor Dan said. Kang Chan was instantly surprised, but then bitterly smiled. Kid doesn't know anything about formations. Nonsense, old me doesn't know. Emperor Dan laughed and cursed. Old husband will guide you. You only need to follow what old husband says, but do it. Kang Chan nodded at his words. He was also a little curious in his heart as to why there was a formidable formation in this stone cave. What exactly was it hiding? Following Emperor Dan's instructions, Kang Chan took out the lower grade spirit stones from the reverse heavenly cauldron and placed them in each specific location. Then, they were blasted at some places in the stone cave, which shook the cave straight away. Wang Tixiong was awakened by the commotion that Kang Chan had made and said in confusion, "Chana, what are you doing?" "Grandpa, I'll explain to you later," Kang Chan hurriedly replied back and continued to follow Emperor Dan's instructions to break the formation. Until after 3 hours of busy work before and after, a burst of blazing light lit up in the stone cave. Wang Tixiong and Kang Chan were instantly startled, but the blinding light caused them to close their eyes uncontrollably, unable to see the scene in front of them clearly. Until after a long time, the 2 people slowly opened their eyes. In front of them, there appeared a black and ghostly hole. Inside the hole is dark, unable to see the situation inside clearly. The 2 of them, Wang Tixiong and Kang Chan, were immediately dumbstruck. In the stone cave, when the formation was broken, it unexpectedly revealed a mysterious dark hole that led to nowhere. Both Wang Tixiong and Kang Chan were astonished and looked curiously at the hole that had suddenly appeared. The hole was no more than the size of a person, in the shape of a round arch, and it was pitch black inside, so it was clear to see what was there. Occasionally, a ghastly wind blew out, which was so morose that it attacked people and made their scalps tingle. This seemed to be an unsettling cave, and it was hard to guarantee that there weren't any demons or ghosts inside. What a strong yin qi. Could there be some dead people buried in here? Emperor Dan was also very puzzled as he asked Kang Chan to go in and take a look. Kang Chan felt his scalp tingle and was a little hesitant. Kid, at a time like this, taking one step is one step. Besides, since there's wind blowing inside, it means it's not a dead end. It's better than staying here and waiting to die. Emperor Dan chided. Kang Qian heard this and had to walk into the stone cave with a stiff upper lip. Wang Tixiong and Xiao Jin followed suit. The two men and the monkey cautiously wiped their way forward in the dark. The passageway was pitch black. Not a single source of light could be seen. They both touched the cold stone walls and slowly advanced. Hoo-hoo. Dark and icy cold coexisting passage is very long. Occasionally, there is a gloomy wind blowing through the bone cold. Kang Qian and Wang Tixiong do not dare to speak. This xiao xiao wind sound is the only sound in this darkness. Do not know how long to walk. Suddenly Xiao Jin squeaked. The front steeply appeared a bright light. In this dark world seems incomparably dazzling. The two men and the monkey were instantly surprised and accelerated their speed. Waiting to come to the source of light, Kang Qian was very surprised. What appeared in front of him was actually a wide cave, much bigger than the stone cave outside, and there were also 774.99 night pearl at the top of the cave. As if the stars in the sky at a glance brilliant and dazzling, illuminating the entire cave incomparably bright. How come it looks as if it's an underground mansion? This seems to be the hall. Kang Qian surveyed the cave mansion. His heart was very curious. Who on earth had opened up such a marvelous cave mansion here? Wang Tixiong was also curious as he scanned the surroundings and said to Kang Qian, "Chona, look over there. There are a few more passages. According to this place, it seems to be the legendary Cultivation Cave Mansion." Cultivation Cave. Kang Qian's eyes lit up when he heard this. It was said that some of the seniors in the cultivation world like to open up caves in the famous mountains and rivers, so as to get away from the hustle and bustle of the red dust, and meditate on the path of cultivation, with the hope of one day being able to peek into the path of immortality. These caves are collectively referred to as cultivation caves. Cultivators in the cultivation realm to pursue the cultivation caves of their predecessors, as they are likely to have Taoist traditions left behind by these predecessors, or cultivation treasures, techniques, and potions, and so on. In short, in the cultivation world, once a cultivation cave mansion comes out, it is bound to attract a lot of cultivators to come and peep at it, and even cause a big battle for it. Some of the cultivators are very like to look for some cultivation cave, which is the most of the casual cultivator. They do not have the clan resources, can only rely on this kind of encounter to pursue a higher realm. You do not say. There are really some lucky guys to get a seat of cultivation cave, so as to become a party of the famous masters. Of course, there were very few people with such luck after all. Kang Qian didn't think that he was so lucky to find a cultivation cave mansion. Looking at how spectacular this hall looked, the owner of this cave mansion was bound to be extraordinary. "Grandpa, let's go and take a look. If it's really a cultivation cave, it must be some kind of treasure," Kang Qian said with an excited face. Wang Tixiong also had an expectant look on his face, rubbing his fists and palms in excitement. Maybe there was some kind of elixir in this cave house that could allow him to break through the Jidan stage. The two men and the monkey immediately began to search the entire cave, starting a vast treasure hunting journey. However, although the ideal is plentiful, the reality is very cruel. There are a total of 4 passages, 3 of which are engraved with Dan, weapon, method 3 ancient words, but it is empty, nothing. Kang Qian immediately hung his head. Wang Tixiong also had a disappointed look. Really, the greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment are. "Kid, quickly enter this 4th passage to take a look. This cave should have been patronized. The things within the previous 3 passages have long since been taken away. It's what's left within this one. But it's very strange, the old man's divine thoughts can't even probe into it." The Dan Emperor's voice came from his mind. When Kang Qian heard this, he was instantly filled with anger. Who is so unethical? He doesn't know to leave something for me. Even a little bit of elixir is good. However, when he heard the Dan Emperor say that there was something left in the last passage, Kang Qian was instantly overjoyed and hurriedly pulled his grandfather forward to investigate. Wang Tiqiong was not hopeful about this. He shook his head and said, "This passage doesn't even have words. There must not be anything good. It's good to take a look as it's idle anyway." Kang Chon pulled Grandpa in. This passageway was dimly lit and looked eerie. The icy cold ghastly wind seemed to be blowing out from here, making one's scalp numb. Kang Chon didn't dare to go in alone, so he had to pull Grandpa along, and by the way, bring Little Gold along as well. As the two men and one monkey stepped in, a wide pool appeared in front of them, white mist steaming in the pool. There was a large tree standing in the pool. The tree also bore a lot of black fruits. It looked sinister. However, this was not what surprised Kang Chon. What really shocked him was that there was a blood coffin placed underneath the tree, transmitting an icy and morose aura. Very terrifying. Little Gold was so scared that he hid behind Kang Chon, his two paws shivering non-stop. Kang Chon is also quite calm, just some scalp numbness. Only Wang Tiqiong was a bit insightful, he said. This tree is able to grow in such a place. The fruit borne on it is bound to be extraordinary, and might be able to be worth quite a few spirit stones. Kang Chon was speechless at his words. Grandpa was still thinking about these things at this time. But Emperor Dan very much agreed with Wang Tiqiong's words. He was full of excitement and said, "Kid, your grandpa was right this time. This tree is simply priceless. Your old man recognizes this fruit." Kang Chon was pleasantly surprised at his words. To be able to make an expert like the Dan Emperor call it a priceless treasure, then it really was priceless. Of course, Emperor Dan had an excited look on his face. He said excitedly, "Originally, I was wondering why this place was so eerie. It turns out to be a place of extreme yin. In a place of extreme yin, there is only one kind of tree that can survive, and that's the legendary root of the Earth's yin. And that black fruit is the fruit of the Earth's yin. Is this fruit very powerful?" Kang Chon couldn't help but ask curiously. "More than powerful," Emperor Dan said with an excited face. "This kind of fruit is a legendary extreme spiritual essence, containing pure heaven and earth's most yin qi. Whether it is used for refining pills or taking them, it has infinite effects. If you kid eats one of them, it will instantly elevate you to the Yuan stage. So powerful." Kang Chon sucked in a mouthful of cool air when he heard this. Both of his eyes immediately blazed forward, his saliva left behind, as if he couldn't wait to rush up there right away. "Kid, calm down first. Listen to the old man put words in his mouth." Emperor Dan laughed and scolded to stop Kang Chon, and said in a deep voice, "Judging from the several passages in front of us, this cave should have been patronized long ago. There's no reason to leave walking heaven and earth supreme treasures for you, kid." Kang Chon also felt justified, but the fact was right in front of his eyes. Since the fruit of earth yin had such a great effect, he naturally could not give up. "Kid, you'd better be careful. This thing shouldn't be good to collect. Otherwise that person would definitely not leave it for you," Emperor Dan reminded. He but knew that this kind of fruit was very precious. It had a great benefit to strong people like him. It was a heaven and earth treasure that the cultivation world had been known for a long time. If there were no accidents, no one would give up this kind of treasure and not take it. The white mist of the pool of water was steaming more than just like a fairyland. The root of the earth's yin was like a fairy tree, occupying a small space. A fist-sized black fruit of the earth's yin, but also emitted a sinister light, coupled with the blood coffin under the root of the earth's yin. All the images appear incomparably sinister and demonic, so that people cannot help but scalp numbness. Kang Chon let Grandpa and Xiao Jing wait at the door, and slowly walked towards the center of the pool alone. As soon as he entered the pool, there was a bone-chilling cold air from the soles of his feet. Kang Chon could not help but shiver. Although the temperature of the pool water was not low, but it contained a cold air. This cold aura is coming from the blood coffin, infesting the pool water. "Wait, don't touch that blood coffin, or else I'm afraid the yin qi in it will kill you instantly," Emperor Dan reminded in his mind. Kang Chon was shocked in his heart. Who exactly was buried in this blood coffin? Even after dying for so many years, it exuded such a terrifying corpse aura. And there was also someone who buried him in an extremely yin place. Wasn't he afraid of raising a zombie?